Hello, everyone out there. Stephanie Wiseman. We're here with MarshStream on our second Monday night. Thank you all who are joining us. Thanks to Alexa and the performers and our staff and everyone who's making this possible. Before we start with the performances, I just want to tell you what's coming up this week. We're here at the Monday night stream. Tuesday, we're having a sing-along with Ellen Hoffman, and she's been working hecka hard, getting some great songs. They will be on our website so everybody can sing along together and have the lyrics in hand. On Wednesday night, we have Solo Arts Heal, and we have a very good show moderated by Gail Schickley with Sam Simon and a special guest. Sam, this show is focused on healing and solo arts. And this week's piece, we're going to hear an excerpt about caregivers. So, really thrilled about this. Thursday, wait, that's Tuesday. That's Wednesday. Oh my goodness, we're at Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it's Stephanie's MarshStream. And thrilled that we will have Tom Amiano as my guest. He just published a new book called Kiss My Gay Ass, and we will be talking to him about that. Friday, we're back to game night with Josh Kornbluth. And for everyone who missed it last week, you, of course, probably missed the most hilarious bingo ever. So anyway, we're here tonight at the Monday MarshStream, and I want to welcome our hosts, Alexa Almira. Thank you all. Hey, Alexa, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you, Stephanie, for the introduction. So as she said, my name is Alexa and I'm the Monday Night Marsh Program Director. We are super excited to have you all on for the second episode of Monday Night Marsh Stream, which we'll be hosting every Monday at 7:30 p.m. We'll be showcasing different performers each time. So I hope you join us next week as well. Um, so just want to remind everybody that there has never been a better time to support our theaters, to support our community of storytellers than right now. So we are very, very thankful to have you joining us here tonight. Um, and we hope that you are staying healthy. We hope that you have a glass of your favorite wine in your hand, or if you don't drink alcohol, a cup of horchata in your hand. Pretty good. Whatever it may be, we just invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So tonight we've got three fabulous performers ready to kick off the second episode of Monday Night MarshStream. So first we'll have Alex Adams, and then followed by Vera Haneish, and rounding up the night will be Celtic fiddler Colin MacLeod himself. So very exciting. We got music on Monday Night MarshStream. So let's get started. So up first we have Alex Adams with an excerpt from Bullies Everywhere, a piece that concerns a movie buff who ends up running after a man who stabbed someone in the front row and finds himself facing more danger than any film noir he had ever seen on the screen. Written and performed by an actor, writer, and diehard movie fan. Let's give it up for Alex.
Excuse me. This is, by the way, the first half of this piece, and I've created somewhat of an ending of it, but there is more, and if you want to see the rest, let me know. Bullies are everywhere. Bullies are everywhere. They fill the airwaves on the evening news, make all the headlines in the morning, and clutter up the internet with annoying bulletins, some real, some fake. But what a headache. That's why I come here to this old Art Deco movie palace called the Castro Theater. This landmark in San Francisco is my sanctuary and shelter from the bullies outside. I can concentrate on art house classics, film noirs, and uproarious comedies. However, during this particular evening, I was watching Dog Day Afternoon, starring Al Pacino, and I felt betrayed. What the critics called a hilarious madcap heist movie was mildly funny, but then the end took a very dark turn. suddenly he realized that innocent hostages might get killed in the crossfire. Now, I'm on the edge of my seat, and the suspense seems unbearable. And then, suddenly, a man in the front row yells out, "Help, I've been stabbed!" I'm so startled, I jump up and spill hot, buttery popcorn all over my jeans. And then a flash runs up the aisle and whooshes by me. I turn and I see the door of the lobby open up and lights come into the dark theater, and I see a hooded windbreaker. Goddamn bullies. They don't even let you watch a movie. But apparently, I was the only one that saw the stabber. All the ushers rushed over to the victim, and the moviegoers were still mesmerized by the silver screen. They preferred make-believe to live drama, but not me. I preferred the real thing. This was my moment to confront all the demons, all the bullies in my high school. You see, in high school, the bullies used to rip off my glasses and smash them on the sidewalk and call me Four Eyes. Four Eyes. Well, I took action. I went up to my father and said, "Dad, what am I supposed to do?" You see, Dad had a shrunken arm from polio, and for that, the bullies never left him alone. But here's the thing, he always got away. So I just asked him that question. What are you going to do? What was you did when you were a young man? And he said, "Son, when a bully comes up to you, gets all in your face, you just give him a big warm smile. And the smile will throw him off. And when the big brute just stands there all dumbfounded, you run like hell." You see, son, that smile gave me a getaway. Gave me that split second I needed. And that's what you need, son. You need a good warm smile and a good pair of running legs. Running legs? I'd be pressed for a good pair of walking legs. Last week, my boss pushed me down a flight of stairs. Ad agencies can be very volatile. And for that, I got a torn meniscus in my knee. Yeah, I should sue the bastard, but I just smiled. Hey, Dad, no more smiling. What worked for you was fine, but it doesn't work for me anymore, okay? We're dealing with a serial killer. Yeah. So I went outside and I looked out into the fog, but it was so dense I couldn't see anything. And then I saw a motion going up and down, up and down. I figured it was somebody running in place like a jogger, waiting for the stampede of cars to come to a halt. But if I was going to check this figure out and see if it was the hooded windbreaker, I'd have to take slow, short steps in the fog. I looked down and then ahead, down and ahead, down and ahead, down and yet when I came close enough, I was too close. When I started to look up, I saw the hooded windbreaker jutting out from the fog. And then something I didn't see in the movie theater. His knife. Only he wasn't a city punk with a switchblade. Oh, no. He had a pearl-handled hunting knife in his sheath attached to his belt. He was like the Davy Crockett of serial killers. And so I smiled at him, and he quickly slapped his knife on with his hand, like a cowboy would, with his holstered shoulder, with his holstered gun, like Gary Cooper in High Noon. Only this sheriff had bloodshot eyes and a raspy breath like a bear in heat. Was he out of breath from running in place? Or was he getting worked up into a stabbing stampede? Or was he just happy to see me? And then I just gave him a big warm smile, like I told my dad I would never do again. And I said, "Hey, buddy, I saw you running out of the theater and I just wanted to help. Are you all right?" And after a good deal of consideration and deep thought, the stabber whipped his arm across my neck and put his knife up against my chest. And I just kept talking. I said, "Hey, buddy, that's a nice utensil you got there. I can see how you get carried away with that knife in your hand. I mean, no telling what I would have done if I had that in my hand." I got so excited, I jumped up and spilled oily popcorn all over my white jeans, and now I've got a big splotch on my crotch. And with that, the stabber released his grip, stepped back, holding his knife like he would a cigarette. And then he smiled and said, "Hey, man, you really did a number on yourself." And then he pointed his knife right at my crotch. Was he going to castrate me on Castro Street? And then he walked up closer and closer and closer. And he said, "Man, looks like a bullseye on a dartboard." And then he laughed and laughed uproariously at his strange joke, which made no sense at all because a bullseye is only that size. But so what? This is what bullies did. They loved to make jokes, providing you were the brunt of it. Now, he started rolling his knife around in the circles, and he stopped laughing. He stared at me. Well, I became jittery, and I just looked across the street to get away from his dangerous, annoying gesture. And then I saw a sign that said in big black bold letters, "Twin Peaks Streetcar." Wow. Yes, of course. That probably went all the way up the mountain to the Twin Peaks Mountain. That would be like a hunter's paradise. And then if I could get him to go under that tunnel and wait for the streetcar, well, it would be just a moment of calling the police up, because you see, the streetcar stopped running at, I guess, sometime after 11. It was Sunday night, and he'd just be sitting there waiting for Godot. Only Godot is a no-show, right? So I said, "Hey, buddy, look, you see that streetcar over there? Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go into that tunnel and wait for the streetcar, because it'll take you to the Twin Peaks Forest Preserve. And no one goes there at night. It's too dangerous. But what do you care? You've got a hunting knife. Yeah, you can cut up all those bears and hunting all those coyotes and whatever for dinner. Yeah, you got room and board for nothing." Well, now I waited for an answer, and I was really shitting bricks, if you want to know the truth. I mean, because if a bully knows you're pulling his leg, you're dead meat. But after what seemed like an eternity, he put his knife away in the sheath, nodded his head, and extended his hand and said, "Hey, great idea, man. You're a real prince among men." And what could I do? He didn't call me just a man among men. He called me a prince among men. So I shook his hand hard. And then he turned around and shot across the street. But the streetcar pulled up. Apparently, it wasn't the last streetcar of the evening. And the doors opened, and he turned around and smiled at me like I was some kind of genie, like I knew all about everything. And then he walked up the stairs, and the door shut. And then I heard a bunch of voices down below. And I looked, and I saw some police by the Castro Theater, and they were all looking at me. Did they see me smiling and waving at the stabber? If they did, they might think I was his, is confident in crime. Yeah, I could be arrested for aiding and abetting a criminal. And then I looked back and they now had their guns pointed at me. And they said, "Stop or we'll shoot." And I lifted my hands and I said, "Shoot? What? What did I do?" Thank you. That's the first half of Bullies Everywhere. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for that, Alex. Wow, that was quite an adventure. I was definitely at the edge of my seat. Just when you thought there was only one guy with a knife, there's like another guy with a knife, and wow. I really am curious to see what happens with the rest.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So up next, we have Vera Haneish with a shelter-in-place version of her piece called SWANA King. SWANA King is a performance piece that explores the tensions between gender expression and expectations in SWANA/Middle Eastern culture. And she does this through dance, drag, dance as drag, Arabic Gotye covers, a cousin's song about grape leaves, and flying keffiyehs. Vera is one of the Rebel Kings of Oakland, Pacifica Center board president, LGBT national hotline operator, youth shelter volunteer, and SWANABAQ member. So please put your hands together for Vera. Let's take it away, Vera.
Hello. Hello, everyone watching the Monday Night Marsh stream. Thank you for joining. As has been stated, my name is Vera, and I am a SWANA King, and this piece is called SWANA King. It's kind of a shorter excerpt. So SWANA stands for Southwest Asian North African. Everyone at home, say it with me. Southwest Asian North African. And it's an alternative to saying Middle Eastern, because Middle East of what? The colonizers? If you couldn't tell, that was my hidden laugh track in my jingle belt. That's why it's always good to have one on hand, especially when you don't have the audience applause or cackles. So I am Armenian American, and I'm also a drag king. If you could not tell, while this chin hair is for sure mine, because again, Armenian American. There's a lot of mascara up in here and a lot of contouring and other makeups. So I'm a drag king, and I'm one of the Rebel Kings of Oakland, and I love doing drag. It helps with a lot of the gendery, bendery feels that I have going on. And if you at home can think for a minute and just ponder for a second, if maybe gendery, bendery feels and kind of SWANA culture, do you think those two go hand in hand? I'll give you a minute to think about it. You're correct. They don't go hand in hand. You know, kind of stereotypically going outside gender stereotypes and gender boundaries is not super welcome in SWANA culture. And drag has kind of helped me find a middle ground there. And so I'm gonna play you a little clip of some music, because why talk about it when I could instead emote fake lip sync about it? All right. دلوقتي بفضل دايما افتكر ايام التعب، قلت لنفسي انه كان دايما انا السبب، مش هعيش انا كده، ابقى انا دي المشكله، قلت لي ان مش فارقه، وانا مش هسيبك تمشي مع حد مش شايفه فيه الفوق، ما كانش لازم تبعدي تمشي قدامي وكانت الموضوع كان ولا حاجه، انا مش مناسبه عمري ما بقيت مرتبطه، ما كانش لازم تمشي بصحابك وتغيري كل Thank you. I'm just imagining, uproarious applause. But in case you missed some of the kind of references in there, or if you have, different abilities to see color, I was wearing a pink jingle belt. I tossed it aside. I revealed what? My blue jingle belt in a very gendered move. So that is what you observed there. So it's really been a journey, and something really beautiful is that I march every year with SWANABAQ, which, as you remember, Southwest Asian, North African, and then the BAQ is for Bay Area Queers, just because no acronym can be long enough, really. So I marched with them every year in Pride, and this past Pride, I had a gig. I was performing at City Hall afterwards, so I had to come in drag, and I didn't really know, how the SWANABAQ is made predominantly of kind of cis gay men, and I really didn't know how my brothers would take it. I was like, I'm just gonna arrive like this, and the support I got was really beautiful. And they just welcomed me. Habibti, you look so handsome. It just made total sense to them. And it was kind of the family experience that I haven't gotten in respect to my queerness and being a drag king. So I really appreciate them and wanted to share that with you. Speaking of family, as a SWANA drag king, I do a lot of numbers. I don't speak Arabic, but I love doing Arabic numbers, some Armenian numbers. But my favorite thing to do, and if you come to any of our drag shows, I will, for once in a while, I will absolutely do them, are my cousin's songs. My cousin is a Middle Eastern SWANA comedian and does these hysterical cover songs. So I do a lot of them in drag, and that's a way for me to kind of reclaim that family bond. And he sent me the MP3s, so I kind of feel like that is the closest I might get to kind of familial biofam acceptance, and I will take it. I will take it. And another really beautiful thing is that my cousin often sings about the greatest unifiers in SWANA culture. What is the greatest unifier in SWANA culture? It's food. It's food. Spoiler alert, folks, it's food. And that's true in a lot of, pan-ethnic cultures, that food is sometimes one of the greatest unifiers. So my cousin sings a lot about food, and man, do I love food and lip syncing about food. So I'm going to kind of end this little storytelling performance, thank you, Marsh, with my cousin's song about one of my favorite SWANA foods. And it's also a little appropriate because it is 420 today. I do not partake myself, but I do partake in this food drug that we're about to learn about right now. Killing time, take a look at the clock, and then I'm turning to my mom. I say, you wanna do a pot? She asks if it's illegal. We mustn't, we can't. But then I tell her, mama, please, it's just a green plant. So we blaze up the pot after we roll them up tight. Oh yes, the effort is joined. We'll get the munchies tonight. We're seeing smoke, we're seeing vapor, unmistakable stink. But we are Arab, ya habibi. It is not what you think. We're doing grape leaves, my friend. Grape leaves. Grape leaves again. I can't eat only one.
not addictive. They say you can't OD, but anybody who said that has not met Moody. You see, he tried to defy it, but the scent was incredible. Think it was the first time he experimented with edible, but doing drugs you'll never see me. No, I don't want a probation, though we do have an ordeal. It is just for decoration, cause saying no to drugs isn't too hard to decide, cause when you take a bite of these, you're on a magic carpet ride. And when we sit back on the couch, I swear my mind just isn't stopping. All I'm thinking about is how I want to ride the green toboggan, Iraqi tobacco, the Pine Nutty Express. Wanna roll a dolma doobie, you can do so unless you're eating grape leaves, my friend. Grape leaves. Grape leaves again. I can't eat all it. Can't eat all it. Can't eat all it. Can't eat all it.
That was a delicious romp. You've all learned a lot about me in a very short amount of time. When I'll just conclude with a little anecdote, one of the most beautiful things that this quarantine time has done for me is that a lot of drag kings internationally are getting together to put on shows, which is really beautiful. If you go to at Drag Kings World, there's a show on the 22nd with kings from all over the world, from India to the SFB area. And we're just a real big family. And in this, I've also met my first drag kings from Lebanon, and we're planning a digital number together. So, and I've met another Armenian drag king, and it's been really beautiful, and it's truly solidified the family and kind of the queer and drag king family that I've always wanted, and to kind of fill that hole, but also just create new conceptualizations of what we can be together with, dance, jingle bells, and delicious dolma. Thank you so much, Marsh, and I hope to see you again in person soon, and I can't wait for this Celtic music.
Thank you for that, Vera. I honestly had no idea that the term SWANA even existed. It stands for Southwest Asian North African. That's awesome.
Yes.
So I think that your piece definitely highlighted issues that, I personally don't feel like are usually talked about. So and I can completely relate to the idea of having food as a way to bond, as a way to enjoy not just your own culture, but other people's cultures. So
and when there's a lot of family awkward silence, you just eat and mask all of it.
Yes, definitely. Great advice from Vera. And also thank you for sharing what you and your organizations have been doing during the quarantine as well. I think that's important to know.
The Pacific Center also, I'm board president, and they're doing online therapy and online peer groups, and I co-facilitate a peer group for SWANA Queer Femmes, and that's meeting via Zoom, and it's like truly a beautiful, beautiful group of people, and I can't imagine us not having each other, and I'm so grateful that we're still meeting by Zoom.
That's great. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
All right, so up next, we'd like to welcome the Celtic fiddler himself, Colin MacLeod, to the virtual stage, and he'll be performing a piece called I'll Get There My Way, Teamwork at Its Best. Colin MacLeod is the Celtic fiddle guru who opens hearts and transforms minds to the power of music in people's lives through his Celtic fiddle playing and storytelling. Colin hails from Edinburgh, Scotland, and Melbourne, Australia. 3 years ago, whilst on a philanthropic trip to Nepal, where Colin played at schools, He took Celtic fiddle playing to new inspirational heights by playing the fiddle in a plane over Mount Everest at 33,000 feet. Whew! Take it away, Colin.
Thank you very much, Alexa. It's lovely to be here live streaming with the Marsh tonight. So hello from Scotland. And you know, can you imagine just going somewhere and just being like absolutely captivated with things? And well, through Airbnb connections in Australia, I got on a plane and then I headed over to Nepal. And there I was sitting at a table in Kathmandu. We just arrived and I was hearing some music. And the musicians were playing. And then all of a sudden, the meals came. And we had Nepalese meals. And I saw this glass, something like this, only a bit bigger. And it had Mount Everest on it. And I thought, what would it be like to actually go to Mount Everest? And I mean, who would think about playing the violin in a plane over Mount Everest? And you could play, or it might be, and we were sitting at this table and the musicians were just so engaging, so capturing, and my imagination just went ballistic. And I thought, right, let's see, I'm going to keep that in my mind. So next day we were wandering around in Kathmandu and seeing some of the local culture, and then we started our trek and we went outside Kathmandu. We got on the bus and just the sights were absolutely beautiful. They were sensational. In fact, they were a bit like this in the background. Can you see this? This is actually Lake Pokhara, which is in the Annapurna region of Nepal, and it actually reminds me about Loch Erne, which is in the middle of Scotland. It's in the Highlands of Scotland, and you know, you see sunsets just like this. And can you imagine going from Kathmandu by plane? So this was part of the trek, and we went from Kathmandu to Pokhara, and there we stayed at the waterfront hotel, which is just in the background there. And you've got people coming down, they're paragliding, or you know, you've got just people enjoying the views here. And I did a Facebook Live from on the edge of the lake, and it was something like this. And while we were at the hotel, there was a group of us sitting around, maybe 6 to 8 people. And I should mention that it was a philanthropic trip, and going to visit schools, playing music at the schools, and experiencing local culture as well. It's really fantastic, actually. And it was with Sacred Journeys Nepal. And anyway, we're all sitting around the table, and somebody said, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. And we're going to do something really special. We're going to fly over Mount Everest in a plane. And, you know, everyone was going, oh, that, are you actually going to do that? And can we do that? And of course, everyone said, yes, what a great idea. What a great idea. So there were only a certain amount of seats on the plane. And 5 people had said, look, we're going to be going on over Mount Everest in this plane. And the tour guide said to everyone, does anyone else want to go? And I thought back to seeing the glass of beer on the table in Kathmandu when I was having a meal with everyone. And I said, yes, I'll go. So at that stage, you say, oh, well, okay, it'll be a really, really awesome experience. So we actually headed back to Kathmandu by plane. So, can you imagine as a rehearsal? So we got back to Kathmandu and everyone was a bit nervous, like, we're going to be flying over Mount Everest. We're going to be flying over Mount Everest. So we went to Kathmandu airport and all the tickets were, we were flying with Yeti Airlines. Can you believe that? Yeti Airlines. So anyway, we got to the airport and I thought, well, I'll just take my violin with me just in case, you never know. And then people were actually single filing. They were single filing onto the plane, and it was a really, really small plane. It was like one of the planes that you take from Glasgow to go to one of the islands off the west coast of Scotland. It might be Mull, it might be Tiree. And so I had the violin case on my back, and I thought, am I going to get this on the plane? Am I going to get this on the plane? So I said to the flight hostess, can I take the violin on the plane? And she said, yes. And I'm good. Oh gosh, so what we did was we were on the plane and I said to the hostess, look, is it possible to just honor this person's birthday on the plane and perhaps play a quick tune? And she says, okay. So she said, right, we've actually got to sit in the plane. We're going to be really quiet and you're allowed to take photographs. And I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that there's other people on the plane because, to try and fly over Mount Everest and never have flown before, leave it to the experts, leave it to the hostess. And that means that we can actually concentrate on what we do really well. I mean, this is what I was like in the plane. I was shaking, I was a bit nervous, and I was just really nervous. Oh, goodness me, I'm recreating that nervousness. And then as we're flying over Mount Everest, people are taking photographs, and then the air hostess says, hey, you can go, you can do it. So this is the tune I played. And then, can you do something a bit livelier? Of course I can. And then there was a clapping of the hands. And I thought, how awesome is this to be able to be in a plane at 33,000 feet flying over Mount Everest? So this is what I did. And this is for everyone at the Marsh as well. And it was really, really very, very quick. Everyone went like this. And then we flew over Mount Everest, took the pictures, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And then the plane came in and it landed at Kathmandu airport. And then we went on our way. But it was just being able to make that moment really, really special for people. And people took photographs, some people took videos. And for me, I submitted an application for a world record to the Guinness Book of World Records for taking Celtic fiddle playing to new inspirational heights. And they wrote back, this was this was last 2 years ago, and they wrote back in August 2018, and they said, "Dear Mr. MacLeod, thank you very much for your application for taking Celtic fiddle playing to new inspirational heights. The definition, we're sorry to say that your definition is too narrow." And I thought, no, that they're actually right, because through teamwork, through helping people, to move on with what they're doing, through training, through personal development, it really is teamwork. So needing to actually expand that Celtic fiddle playing. So one of my next adventures is going to be doing the same thing again with a group of people. And perhaps it might be people who want to play the violin, play Celtic fiddle, but that means that they'll be taking their inspiration to new heights. And, I got the letter, and I sat down and I thought, well, you've had such a great adventure there. And sometimes we can reminisce with music. And then we can say, hey, we've had an adventure. Let's look forward again. And it's thank you. It's so wonderful to be able to have the live streaming on the Marsh. Congratulations to everyone. It's so much fun, and you're reaching a wider audience as well. And your in-person shows are just marvelous as well.
Wow, thank you, Colin. That was awesome. I think that really having an instrument, especially one as unique as the Celtic fiddle, really adds another layer to the storytelling. And I felt like I was in the scene with you when you were flying over Mount Everest. I was like, wow, I am too. I'm like, because of the fiddle really puts us in there with you, so really evokes different feelings and all that. So I really appreciate you coming on here and playing for us too.
You're very, very welcome, Alexa. It's been absolutely fabulous, and thank you very
Yeah, of
much.
course. So I definitely want to open it up to the audience for Q&A at this point. I know that Stephanie had a couple questions she want to start us off with for Colin, I think, right, Stephanie?
Yes. Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Colin, can you hear Stephanie?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Yes.
Hi, Colin. That was
Hi,
great.
Stephanie. Thank
All
you.
three of the performers were great tonight. So
Mhm.
wonderful, you know? We started the Monday Night Marsh 30 years ago. It was the first thing the Marsh was. So it's wonderful to keep having it as we go into this MarshStream. So, Colin, I have a couple of questions. So, the first one is you said you were on a philanthropic mission. What kind of mission was that, and how did you get involved in that?
So I'm a former CPA and also a musician, and I've been looking at ways of giving back with music, and I actually came across it through Airbnb in Australia. I was in the Blue Mountains above Sydney and New South Wales, and speaking to the Airbnb hostess, and her daughter is married to a Nepalese gentleman, and that's how the tour started. And they were doing a singing trek from Australia to Nepal. So there was a group of maybe 15, 16 people who went across and experiencing culture, meeting the teachers and the students at the schools, playing music to the schools, and at the same time, just experiencing an absolutely marvelous country. And it was very inspirational, and I wanted to walk the walk to see what it was like. And the tours actually gift back. There's a philanthropic aspect to the tours, so that helps to fund. Sacred Journeys Nepal has built a couple of schools. They support an orphanage. They support teenage girls going through school as well, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I guess
Very welcome.
my second question is, I wanted to say, it's all technically a big question. What we can do on Zoom, what works well on Zoom, what doesn't work well on Zoom. So you're from the Bay Area, right? You live in the Bay Area or not?
I'm from Scotland.
But are you in Scotland or are you in the Bay Area?
I'm in Scotland.
You're in Scotland?
Yes.
We have our first Scottish performer. How'd you even find out about us?
So I have some friends who are based in San Diego, a friend based in San Diego, and who was recommended the Marsh as one of the places in the US that actually helped to nurture talent in terms of storytelling, in terms of performance. And as a sort of somebody who loves to entertain, and with the violin, and there's the voice as well, and it's such a contrast from being behind the desk as a CPA. And the connection for me was with Alexa, probably I think June, about a year ago maybe. And it was just, it's so serendipitous to be able to catch up. So the recommendations from San Diego, that the Marsh is one of the foremost places in the US where that helps to nurture talent.
Well, that makes my heart pitter patter. But one more question. In terms of the technical stuff, Colin, you sounded really good on that violin. The violin sounded really good. There was a couple of little itsy ditsy things that went in and out.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you have some tips for people using this technology to make this work so they can play an instrument and sound good.
So what I'm doing is I've got a headset. I think it's a Logitech headset. So I'll take it off. And it's wireless. So there's a small dongle that I put in the USB port on the computer. And then I've got hands-free. And so I can speak at the same time. And with the microphone, I can also play. And then it's a way that people can join in. So there's a freedom of movement as well, because I think with storytelling, there's expression to it. The expression, and when you can move, you can groove.
So what you're saying is you can't move if you're holding a microphone. Is that it?
I'm saying that if you want to play the instrument, if you want to play the violin and keep the flow in what you're doing or play an instrument, then maybe people could think about the idea of a headset with a microphone. And I think mine was maybe $60 from Best Buy, something like that.
They have Best Buy in Scotland?
No, this is in the US. I've just I've just come back from the US after a 2-year work visa. I was in the
Well, this is all great. So the microphones with the is part of the earphone. Is that thing
Yes.
on the inside?
Yes.
I see it. There it is. Well, thank you, Colin. Thank you so much. Good luck, and we want to see you more at MarshStream. Hey, wait!
Yeah.
I have something in our waiting room before our shows, and some of them we want people playing music. So if you feel like joining someday for 15 minutes and playing, I think that would be great. Are you up for it?
Yes, I am. Yes,
all right,
I am.
We'll be in contact with you.
Okay.
But it must be really late.
It's 20 past 4 in the morning, 4:22.
Well, good. Thank you.
We really appreciate you staying up for us. Wow. I definitely would be able to play an instrument at 4 in the morning.
Well, I've loved doing it, and keep up the good work. And Stephanie, very, very nice to meet you. Thank you, and Alexa, and I've forgotten everyone's names. Just thank you for everyone bringing it together, and the performers as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Does anybody else in the audience have any questions for our 3 performers? Any of them? Well, I had a question for Alex. I'm just curious how much of that piece was, I guess, based off of true events. What was it all, or were there, a couple of, fictional parts in there? I'm just curious what that process was like, writing that piece for you.
Yeah, this is kind of a true piece. It's I was at the Castro Theater. I was watching Dog Day Afternoon, and a guy was stabbed in the theater, and that all happened. And for some reason, oh yeah, here, this is a picture of this I used for my promo. This is a picture of me back in 1978. That's what happened. And the original piece was set in 1978 because it was when Harvey Milk and Mayor Moscone and Jonestown Massacre and the Zodiac Killer were all taking place all at the same time. So there were bullies everywhere. Not to mention the cops. The cops are going crazy, just beating up on gays in Castro Street and just, it was just insane what was going on in San Francisco at that time. It was no longer a city of peace and love, believe me. So anyway, to answer your question, I for some reason, I just got up from the aisle and I ran after this guy, and he kept looking back and he saw me and he just kind of was trying to run away from me. And he actually ran into that tunnel, which is where the cops got him. I know nothing more about the story. I don't know why he stabbed the guy, what, it was a lover's quarrel or what. But anyway, that's what it was based on. I kind of made up the rest. It's called auto fiction, I guess. Some of it's autobiography, some of it's just make up. But thank you for asking that question.
Wow, that is quite a story. Wow. And definitely there was a lot of things going on, so it paralleled very nicely, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's everything going on at that time as well.
Yeah. I was originally, when we were going to do it on stage, that's what was my original way of doing it. But because we're doing it like this, I couldn't go into all that stuff and in 10 minutes, so I just cut it down and had them in the theater and whatever. But basically, it was during that time, which was a very volatile time for anybody that's lived in San Francisco at that time. So anyway. And by the way, I knew Harvey Milk. He was a great guy. I knew him. He had a camera shop down the street, and everybody, they called the mayor of Castro Street. And wow. Sad time, but wonderful time. Anyway. thank you for sharing all this, and I loved all the other performers. And thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you, Brian and Daniel. And I think Brianna's on here too. Thank you, everybody. Alexa.
Yeah, everybody did such a great job with expression, movement, given how small of a space that we have. So I just want to say thank you so much, you guys. As Stephanie said, thank you to the producing team that made this happen, to Stephanie, to the performers, to you guys, the audience members as well. Let's keep the support going. We have this going on every Monday, so hopefully everybody can join us every week. And as well as for the other shows that are happening this week as well. We have new shows every day. So thank you all, and we hope we'll see you next time.
Yeah. And Tuesday night, we've got Sing Along. Sounds like all of you could sing along, everybody here. And Wednesday, we've got the Solo Art Heels. I think it sounds like everybody would enjoy that. And then my show with Tom Amiano. Really great. And then bingo. So thank you all. Don't forget, if you want to keep it all going, there's a tip jar on our website. We can all use your support. And I think we'll be able to get this show up on our website, so you can send it out to your friends and get people to come to MarshStream and make it work really well with your support. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Alexa.